You know, CS2 skins are a $5 billion economy. There are thousands of people that make money from it, hundreds of big companies making business solely with the digital items in Counter-Strike 2, and there is a lot of drama with bad actors in the scene. So for everybody it should be clear that skins are much more than a virtual item in a video game. They are also an investment or trading asset with a market price to it that you can easily convert into real money. But even with that, you don't hear a lot of classic business talk about this topic. How to make Counter-Strike skins your job, how to do taxes on skins, what are the risks and laws here. Nobody knows, or at least doesn't want to tell you. And unfortunately, I can tell you everything as well in this video, because this is a very individual topic. But I try to give you the best overview possible and tell you why it's extremely important that you know that there are taxes and laws with Counter-Strike skins, and what can happen if you ignore that. Let's go through all of that after this message of Skinsmonkey.com sponsored this video. They are an automated CS2 trading site which offers a huge amount of skins to instantly trade to, 24/7 live chat support, and a bonus on every cash deposit. Use my code NEON and you get a 5% bonus on your first trade and 5% extra on every cash deposit. Trading there is very easy. You just click the items you want to trade and you instantly get trade off for the item. If the item is trade locked, it will be saved in the inventory and you can withdraw it afterwards. You can also spend remaining balance on other skins, and like you can see here, the trade was very fast. The site only takes a fee of around 7%. And also, like you have seen in many of my videos, if you compare some prices, you can find some really good deals. So check out Skinsmonkey right now. Link to the site with a bonus code is in the description. Big disclaimer. This is a not yet clearly defined topic and it differs from situation to situation. Official laws and rules are yet to be established and there are many legal questions that are just not answered. So your situation might differ depending on where you are from and many other factors that I cannot know. This video is not in any form legal or financial advice. I can just provide information based on what, for example, Skinport has made publicly available in their post, and my information is also based on other sources that are publicly available online. As all information around CS skins in this regard is very new, don't take anything I say for sure, especially when watching this video later. But there are most likely comparable but a little bit different rules in your country or individual situation. You will hear this sentence more often today. Let's start dividing CS2 skin people into two categories: private and entrepreneurs or commercial users. If you occasionally trade skins, don't do that with the main purpose of making profit or money, and you are not registered as an official business, you most likely do CS skins or trading as a private person. If you trade systematically or regularly, make significant profits, or do other things like promoting your services in a similar way to a business, you most likely do CS skin trading as a commercial activity. Be careful here, as every country defines this differently. You might think, yo, you will need to make like at least 5,000 euros per month or something like that. No. Here in Austria, just doing an action 3 times in a row, it doesn't even care if you just make 10 cents of profit, might define you as a regular commercial user. So be careful here and also make sure that these definitions are not different in your country. Depending on which category you now fall into, you might have to comply with different rules and also pay different taxes. Not active, casual private persons might have to do nothing, but there could also be that you have to pay income or capital gain tax if you made profit with trading or, for example, skin investing. So if you are unsure, contact a tax advisor to know what rules apply in your country and your individual situation. As soon as your CS2 skin trading or business might be defined as a business, so commercial use, you have, depending on where you live in, to report that and in many cases pay the fees and taxes like income tax and capital gain tax as well. And in most countries you also have to not only report it, but you have to found a business and pay all the taxes and do the whole process around that. And most professionals can most likely give you a good guideline on how everything like this works. It gets very interesting and this will be the breaking point for most traders when it comes to VAT. VAT, value added tax, or like we Germans call it, Umsatzsteuer, is a consumption tax that is levied on the value added at each stage of a product's production and distribution. VAT is similar and is often compared to a sales tax. Thank you, Mr. Wikipedia. VAT works a little bit different in every country, so be aware of that. Let's check Skinport to see how this might affect you. Skinport also begins their post with, whenever and how skin sales are subject to VAT is often a source of uncertainty. So they basically tell you it's really not certain what is applicable, especially in your situation, and give you an overview of how VAT works, so you know how you can apply that to your CS2 skins. Here we are on the website of Skinport, and this guide is posted by Tristan, which is the founder of Skinport, and yeah, it is comparably short, because there's not a lot of clear information. Basically, the first sentences is often a source of uncertainty. Like we already did, it's important to differentiate if you're an entrepreneur or a non-entrepreneur. And if you're not an entrepreneur, you don't have to care about VAT typically. But if you could define as an entrepreneur, there are some rules that apply. This is also something that took months for me to really clearly define that. If skins are an electronically provided service or not, it's still not clearly defined. Some lawyers will say that, some lawyers will say otherwise, and until somebody official has defined something, we just don't know what is true. So we can't just go with the best thing that we or the professionals think is true. And if your sales are not an electronically provided service, your tax advisor or lawyer will most likely be able to tell you how if this applies in your country. These rules apply in the European Union. If you sell to other entrepreneurs in the same country or to non-entrepreneurs, so private customers, which will be most people you sell to, you must pay VAT. They also say if you pay to another EU country, the liability is reversed, so the buyer is responsible for the VAT. Most countries have similar rules, but yeah, only in the European Union it's like one rule. So basically, in most cases, you have to get to a professional and ask him what applies to you. This is also really important. Marketplaces do not pay you VAT and do not do anything related to VAT for you. So you are responsible to make sure everything is alright. And they also give no legal advice here because it is such an individual topic. So, if you now think that any rules might apply to you, please don't ignore this, as this can lead to consequences if you do. There are some collectors that were contacted by the authorities for the taxes they have missed, and they had to pay the big bill afterwards, far outweighing anything that their skins gained in value. I got into contact with 3 collectors where this happened, so it is rare, but definitely not impossible, so please don't ignore this, okay? But nobody wanted to talk to me about this but Mr. Asker, a pretty known Danish CS collector, now living around Dubai for no particular reason.
So basically, it was back in 2017. I got into to playing Counter-Strike, and then very, very quickly, I was like really fascinated about skins. At the time, I was doing like a newspaper delivery. So every time I would get my 50 euros per month, I would just deposit it onto Bitskins. And then I would just buy like random skins, super overpriced with that. And then I just spent like a year trying to understand the market, understanding the different skins. And then I actually won a giveaway on Twitter. I won a gut knife Doppler from CS2 Blackjack. And I was like so stoked about it because that was like the biggest thing ever for me. I got knife Doppler, and I was so proud of that thing. I remember going to school and people having seen on like my Snapchat story that I got a gut knife Doppler, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, you got a gut knife Doppler!" And it was like 50 euros at the time. I continued to participate in Twitter giveaways, and then just 2 weeks later, I won a Shadow Dagger's Fate, and I now had like gut knife Doppler and Shadow Dagger's Fate, and I just continued to do it. And then 2 weeks later, I won a M9 Doppler. So now I had like a free $400 inventory just out of like nothing. And then I was like, that's insane. So I played with those for a while, but then I wanted to switch them up for some different skins. So one of my friends had told me about Facebook groups in Denmark where you could buy and sell them for real money. So I decided to list them for quite a premium price. Back then, you used to use Steam Analyst for like pricing the different stuff, and I would just price them really, really high just to see. And then I just kept posting them for that price, and I was offering to use middleman services on my like where I would pay. And then eventually, someone actually came to buy them for a really, really good price. And then I was like, okay, now I have this money. It was like $300-400. Let me try and see what I can do with that. So I just went on the group again. Saw like, oh, okay, here's actually a really, really good deal. You know, like 65% Steam Analyst priced, and I had sold my items for 75%. And then I ended up buying some new items using the middleman service, and I ended up having skins that was worth like 10% more than before, and I was so stoked about it. And then I basically just started from there. So basically, GamerPay, they were hosting like a big Google Meet where they send out a link to a lot of the sellers on GamerPay, and then the lawyers, they were actually telling us that if you really read the VAT rules in Denmark very, very carefully, it's quite evident that there might be VAT on the sale of skins. So you'd have to be very, very careful with that. At that time, there was no rules on selling skins in Denmark and how the VAT rules were. But if you look more into it, it seemed like you'd probably have to pay VAT. So then from one day to another, everybody just stopped selling skins in Denmark, and that was like February 2022. And I was also just like, I'll just not do it. I don't want to risk it. And then I remember in August, so like 6 months later, the tax authority started messaging me about like, hey, we've seen you have like some sale of skins in your banking history, and what's that about? And then I told them that I wanted to build an inventory and get like all these like cool items. I always wanted skins like the Dragon Lore, M9 Emerald, M9 Sapphire. So I was just like trying to build up my inventory to get like a sick inventory, of course. And I told them that, and then they just tried to messaged me about it for a couple months, and I gave them the info. I was honest, and then they were just like, okay, you have to pay this in VAT. And then it's just like a bill of $125,000, and I was like, fuck, yeah, it was terrible. And then I got some lawyers in the case, and we're still working on it. But might come to an end soon. So that'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I basically kept pouring money into it with lawyers, and it kind of seems to just be like an endless money pit. So now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, do I really want to spend more money on lawyers if I have to pay the bill eventually? I just kept disputing it now. And also since I moved to the UAE a couple of years ago, I also now have to pay for the state's lawyers. So when you live in Denmark, you actually don't have to pay for the state's lawyer. They will pay for their own lawyers if you sue them, and the state will also pay for 50% of your own lawyers. But now I have to pay for 100% of my own lawyers and for the state's lawyers. So that means it's around 4 times. Yeah, it's around 4 times as expensive now as it was when I was living in Denmark. So it's really, really, really expensive for me to sue the Danish government. But yeah, it's been something that's bothering me for the past 3 years.
Yeah, that is his story. Again, I'm very sorry that I cannot give you a clear instruction sheet on how taxes with CS2 skins work, because it is very individual, and at the point of the recording, there are so many questions that are not officially answered. If you think any rule or taxes might apply to you, or you are not sure, better contact a tax advisor to make sure you don't regret it afterwards. And yeah, I think that sums this one up pretty good. Don't forget to join the Gamer Boys. I am Neon, and see you guys in the next one.